if everyone's good, if we could stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, everybody, welcome. Kathy, if you can do a roll call, please.
You got it. Saban is absent. Okay, Bartleson.
Here.
Lobes.
Here.
Bergbauer.
Present.
Galogly.
Here.
Schreiber.
Here.
Karras.
Here.
Kostecki.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, I see Pastor Ernest Jones is here tonight. Going to open us up in a prayer.
Please pray with me. Mighty Father, first I just want to say thank you. Thank you for covering our great city. Thank you for your protection. Thank you for being a very present help in a time of trouble. Your word said, in all thy ways, acknowledge you and you will direct our path. Right now, we're looking to the hills from which our help come from, and we ask you to direct this meeting, direct our leaders, Father God, in the name of Jesus. And we stand in prayer for the fallen officer, Ella French, and her partner, and we ask you to pull him through. In the mighty name of Jesus, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Ernest. All right, me friends, we got anything going on for the liaison reports?
Yes, sir. Does anyone else have?
Before you do your show?
Go last.
All righty, we'll get started. Yes, Mayor and City Councilman, we do have some recognition for this evening.
All right, we'll go down to the podium.
Yes, please.
All right.
To pass the baton.
Okay, I didn't check you in, but is Kathy Wolf was here? Okay, please, this is your home right here at 16520 Springview Drive.
Just give a quick intro about what's going on.
Okay, so basically, we do this during the spring, summer, fall, Halloween, fall, and then the Christmas holiday lights. And we actually recognize our residents for doing a little extra with their property, with their landscaping, and we really appreciate that. So we want to recognize those that have taken the time to not only work on their landscaping, but let us know about it so we can recognize you. So tonight, the mayor will present the certificates to you, and I'll call out your names, and we'll recognize your home. So thank you very much for doing this. Alrighty. Okay, Katie, this is beautiful. You've done a fantastic job.
So, Katie, I have that plant in the middle. I never get a single white flower on it. One time I got one flower, and I got like 8 of these bushes. I don't understand it.
I can't take credit. My mom's here. She is.
What's the secret, Mom?
My job's to.
Well,
my job's to keep it all alive.
Okay, good. Yes. Well, bravo. They look wonderful.
Well, it's beautiful.
Well, here's a
Gorgeous.
certificate. Thank you so much for
great.
all your hard work, and bravo. Well, Lisa wants to take pictures. Come on over.
Come on, Cece. Thank you so much. Congratulations. Thank you. Let's see here. Let me get this one again. Okay, and the next one will be Peter Elwood for his lovely landscaping
Nice.
on Milborn, 14534 West Milborn Place. Thank
So,
you.
are those limestone slabs there?
Yes, they are.
So, did you ever wonder where all the limestone blocks from the canal went?
Yeah, it's in my yard.
I'm positive everybody pilfered them in the 30s.
Absolutely.
So, yes.
Yeah, we got
That's
ours
great.
legitimately.
Looks very
Well,
nice.
you put them to good use.
Yes.
Well done.
Thanks
Thank
so
you
much.
so much.
Appreciate it.
Congratulations. Thank you so much. Congratulations. Okay, and the next one will be Bob and Carol Trainer. Follow Lane. Very easy. Your flowers look so healthy.
The grass, it looks like AstroTurf.
He takes good care of it.
Yeah, mercy.
It shows pride, you know, pride
Very
of
nice.
ownership, and it looks very nice.
Well, well done. Thank you,
Yes,
everybody.
thank you for doing a good job.
Thank you.
Cece, you gotta get in here.
It's easy, yeah. Just a few minutes, please.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, folks, appreciate it.
The next one would be Isabel Lopez for her lovely decorations at 1024 East Division Street.
Bravo. Now, you have, those are annuals, you gotta replant those every year?
Yes. Well, it's going to be different next year.
Oh, really? Well, it looks
Well, you'll
fantastic.
have to come back then. That's great.
Well, thank you so much.
For taking the time to do
Great.
that. That's wonderful. Thank you. Congratulations. Okay, and the next one is Dominic Muscatella. Could I say that right? Yes. At 168 Sunset Ridge and Court. So this is the townhomes.
Yes.
Very nice, okay.
I like all the
Yeah,
doodads.
Very sharp,
Thank
very
you.
sharp. Thank you.
Thank you
Take
so
the time
much.
to do that.
That's making every square inch count, man.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Congratulations. And the next, I'm not sure if this person's here, Lori Tomino is here. Did she make it? She did not, okay. There was a possibility she was not going to be here, but thank you, Lori. You did a great job with your beautiful tulips and other arrangements. Very nice. Thank you.
I think everybody, yes, bravo. Yeah, everything looks great. I so appreciate you guys, taking pride in your homes in the city, and this makes a big difference, and thank you for that.
Yeah, definitely, because as people drive by, they see our homes, and when they see that people take care of it, that really helps sell Lockport.
But the real estate agent.
Really, first impressions really make a big difference, so thank you very much for taking the time to do this. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Susan.
All right. Now, I always say this, we're not offended if you leave, but you are absolutely welcome to stay. Sometimes people are like, how long do I have to sit here before I can walk out? So, just say. All right. JR, you said you had something for Liaison?
Yeah, a couple things public works wise. First thing is Davis Concrete has returned to State Street. They are working on the crosswalks, which is a good thing. And the other thing that came up in my meeting with Brent is about 2 years ago we approved the Canal Trail bike path from 2nd to 6th, and I believe Brent has an update on that he'd like to give. So I'm going to pass that off to Brent.
Thanks, Chair. Good evening. We do have this project that's been on the books for a couple years now. We budgeted some funds this year. We had applied for a grant. Unfortunately, that grant has not come through. I don't know if COVID had a little bit to play. It sounds like they've essentially just removed that grant program right now. So we were not successful in that grant application. But we do have the plans ready. We have all the approvals from IDNR. We have the approvals from the Army Corps. So at this point, we would be looking to proceed, bring this to a bid starting August 26th. We would be splitting the overall cost, which is about $250,000, with the Park District. So we would enter into an IGA agreement. They have verbally committed to pay for half of that. So we would enter into an IGA agreement that would allow us to split that cost. This would start at Heritage Village at 2nd Street, and it would head south to 6th Street, come up 6th Street, and then it would get onto there's some existing pavement, kind of parking pavement area near the Sloan pad, and take you all the way to the public landing. So it would be a brand new, essentially a brand new path from 2nd Street all the way to the landing. So this evening I just wanted to give a little bit of an update. It is something that we've had on the books, but more or less, I guess, just update, asking for any questions, comments, if this is something that we do not want to move forward with, I guess, at this point. asking for any consideration or comments. But really, it's a great project, and it's something we've been planning for, so hoping more or less just to give an update this evening and move forward.
Is it possible to also correct some of the divots and everything going from the Sloan Building all the way to, what street is that the tattoo place is on? Is that section? No.
You're talking the other direction.
Yeah, the
Going-
other direction. You know where there's like a lot of, there's cracks in there and can you have them bid that as well? Just to put all that together?
Is that
You're talking on the asphalt area?
bike path?
Yeah, because it's not smooth anymore. It's-
Okay.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
can talk to the park district
we
about
can
it,
look-
but, yeah.
Look at it and talk with them about it. I mean, if we're going out at this point, that may be something that they can include within the bid, and then it'd be something that the park district would fund, since that's their
Yeah.
portion of the
Okay.
the project. But yeah, I can certainly have them look into that.
All right, anything else?
I have something for the events. Is September 19th is the Sweets and Savory Crawl. Pre-ticket sales go on sale on the 23rd. We limited it to 500 this year. That's 500 crawlers. And you can get a hold of tickets by going to the lockportchamber.com. On the 23rd, you should be able to purchase your tickets.
All right, very good. Anybody else?
Yep. I got, go ahead.
No, Larry,
go ahead. The Finance Liaison report, a couple things. I omitted for not being here last time, but the accounting team received, Lisa and Maggie received the Distinguished GFOA Budget Award. This is for excellence in the budgeting process. This is the 6th year in a row that they have received this award. So kudos to the accounting team.
Bravo.
One other item, based on the July financial update that Lisa sent out today, we're about 58% through the year. And right now, all tax revenues are exceeding estimates, so that's good news. The other thing, all the department heads may be aware of it or not, but it's budget season. The operational budget sheets have been distributed, and they're ready for your review. That's all I got.
Thanks, Larry. Mark, what do you get?
Yeah, for liaison report for the police department, Citizens Police Academy had its first week. We had the Chief's Retirement Party last Friday. I was in Greektown last Friday, so I didn't attend. We did have the arrest of the armed robbery suspect. Chief, if you wanted to give us any more information on that. We did transition to firearms. We had a lockdown drill with school safety, and then also a new rapid deployment training within the department. And if you could expand on that as well.
Sure. As far as the arrest goes, the officers did a great job. It was last Friday. We had a suspect or an offender. He called for a taxi cab to take him to another location, and he ended up holding up the taxi cab driver at gunpoint. He had then fled the scene on foot, and our officers were able to apprehend him in the area and recovered firearm and the suspect. So it was a good job by the officers. We have school safety drill. We have lockdown. We practice the lockdowns for active shooter type incidents. We do that quite a bit, so that's coming up. Rapid deployment training, that's another thing. We teach the officers in active shooter incidents how to respond and how to address those situations. The Citizen Police Academy, yes, the first week started Monday. It went very well. We have 11 more weeks of that, but all is well at the PD.
All right, good. Thanks, Rich. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you. Thank you.
PD also had a successful community event on August 7th for those who attended. I know
Oh,
it's
yeah,
also
the Community
there, so
Unity.
Nice job.
No, that's great stuff. All right, anybody else got something? All right, I just want to give you guys an update on kind of the Homer Township, Village of Homer Glen, the transfer of all the highway equipment and such. How many folks here live east of Farrell Road? Right? Just one cat? Two? All right, three. So if you live east of Farrell, you're in Homer Township, right? So one thing that's always been problematic since the Village of Homer Glen became a village, was that the Homer Highway tax was extraordinarily high. And it shouldn't have been that high for a very long time. And it was because they had this crazy deal over there where their highway department took care of Homer Glen's municipal roads. So while they should have only been taking care of about 18 miles, they were actually taking care of like 100-something miles, and it's always been a problem, and we've been pushing on this for a long time to remedy it. So finally, it's gotten over one big hurdle. There was a transfer of assets from the highway department to the village of Homer Glen because they want to start taking care of their own roads, as they should have been since they became a city. So because they paid into those assets, trucks, shovels, wheelbarrows, buildings, whatever, that transfer was finally legalized. There was some contention about it for a long time, but that finally has taken place. So two things will happen. Once the highway commissioner knows exactly what it's going to cost to take care of just the 20 miles of roads instead of the 100-something miles of roads, your tax on that portion should drop noticeably, which is great because that's the number you should be paying. So that's good news there. And then there's some other good news too, but it'll take a little bit more time to play out, is that some of those assets you paid into if you live on that side of the boundary line. So we too are owed a share of that. We've decided, we sat down with the new Homer Highway Department Commissioner and the Homer Supervisor. I think we all agreed about it. I think it's about $1.1 million or so. So we'll send a formal letter out. Just want to make sure we're all good sending the formal letter out that that's the number we're looking for. If you guys want to look at how Lisa came up with that closer, you can, or if you have questions for it. But if we're all in agreement with it, we'll send that letter over to the village of Homer Glen and say, guys, this is what is owed us. They've all agreed with this in the past. You've seen their presentations and we've talked about it with them in the past. So this isn't news for them, it's expected. So that's our next step with that. Once the money comes in, then we'll have to decide how we use it. It could be rebated back to citizens who paid that. It could be put into a capital project on that side of the border, right, of the Homer, whatever, but that's a conversation we'll have to have in the future, and, you guys will hear about it, so feel free to talk to your representatives and me or whoever, and with your thoughts on that as well when it comes. So that's the update. So we're going to send that letter out as soon as, now that I've told you.
So, Mayor, I just have a question. Somewhere I had read that they weren't, that was going to put them somehow in a hole because they had to pay out these funds to the city of Lockport or the Homer Township area. That is not a problem, right? I mean, they have agreed to pay all of it back?
Well, they've agreed. I don't doubt there's going to be a problem. You got to come up with $1 million. It's going to be like, okay, but that's not our problem. That's their problem. So,
right. Okay.
Whether or not we work out something where it's made in payments over a time, or whether we want it all delivered in a chest in gold doubloons on, December 1st, whatever it is. I mean, that's stuff we can negotiate with them.
I believe they're home rule by referendum, so they have the ability to finance things and tax or bond or whatever, so.
Okay. All right, so
Okay.
We can share that.
It was only
We
my
shared
only
an email
concern.
with the mayor this morning that we will share with all of you that just kind of broke down a 5-year average of what Lisa and I feel like what the AV should be, and it's about 1.1 million.
So this would be a letter of demand?
Yeah, basically. I mean, we're really, everything has transpired so far, and we'd like to get restitution for what we feel we owe to our taxpayers.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Absolutely. It's been a while since anyone who lives east of Farrell, who lives in the city of Lockport boundaries but lives in Homer Township, has seen any Homer Township workers working on our roads. I think it's been at least 6-7 years. And so I want to be sure that the city is aggressive and firm and goes after these funds. And we see what's happening to the village to our east in terms of their council war. I want to ensure that we are first in line, we are assertive, and we are proactive with all of this, because we, as taxpayers, east of Farrell Road, have been paying for a lot of services over there, and it's time for us to get our fair reimbursement.
And that's a good point. The good news is their levy has changed, and so Homer Glen should be levying for their expenses now, and so hopefully those residents on that township would see a reduction in their tax bill from the future levy of the next township that's going to be smaller now, 18
Yes.
road miles.
Right.
But yes, absolutely, everyone's been agreeing. No one has disputed our claim, and so now we need to send the letter, requesting payment and how this is going to work out, and we'll see where that goes.
And like I said, it's not really a request. It's like, this is what you owe.
Is what
So-
you want, right? We could hand them a check and have them sign it.
All right. All right, so is that everything for liaison reports then?
Yeah.
Okay. Ben, you can take CA1?
Sure, thank you, Mayor. Hang on a second. Oop. Yeah, trying to get to it. So I think Becky's here from Tangled Roots. My first item, CA1, is approving a use agreement to have the Tangled Roots have an event at the Chevron site. It's a temporary use opportunity for them, much like we've done with Old Canal Days. It's September 24th to the 26th. And, it's proven to be a good site for an event like this. They asked us about the ability to do this. We feel like they're going to have a security plan. They'll have to provide all the porta potties. It'll probably be a little bit smaller scale event than the Old Canal Days, but it'll still have live bands and beer and food, and there's a Kringle market, and there's your kind of layout of the event itself, and they'll be coming and going from 2nd Street up to State, so there's going to be a police presence, and they've agreed to cover the 100% of the cost for overtime to deal with traffic. We're not sure they're going to use too much of our public works labor. They're going to do it differently with their own employees, which is fine. But again, this is a for-profit event utilizing our space, but we're going to be meeting with them a couple more times before it gets ratified. But this would be a request to approve Resolution 21091, authorizing a license agreement for the Tangled Roots Company to utilize the city's property here with the parking lot and the event location for Oktoberfest. I know Becky is here from Tangled Roots to answer any questions. There's an agreement in the packet with a lot of different information, many of the expectations that we hold to ourselves that we are asking them to do. I would request this come back as an action item because their attorney and Sonny are working on a little bit of a language tweak or two in here, so I want to make sure you all see exactly what we're agreeing to before we do approval. So we'll have the updated agreement for you as an action item on the next meeting, and I'm happy to take any questions, and I'm sure Becky could answer some too.
You guys have any thoughts, concerns? I know we talked about Canal Street, but it looks like we've moved off of that, so.
So is this free of charge? There's no charge for them to use the property owned by the city?
I think that.
Right now, we haven't charged them other than we would ask that they cover any expenses that the PD, has for handling traffic over time. It could probably be almost $10,000 depending on, for a 3-day weekend event.
Cleanup and stuff like that?
Cleanup, they're handling themselves. We do have our Public Works will provide garbage cans, but they'll be buying their own bags and emptying with their own staff. If we use any of our labor, if they need our labor, they will be reimbursing us 100% for that as well.
So they would reimburse for Public Works?
Yes.
Okay. And so there's no flat fee attached to?
No
for
rental
profit
agreement,
use?
no site fee, I guess, at this point.
No profit sharing?
No request for profit sharing, but, Becky, if you want to come up.
Would we charge parking, Ben?
We haven't, Becky, I know that came up. If you want to come up to the podium, maybe just answer a couple questions about the event. I don't know if you ended up charging for parking or if you're charging for entrance or what your platform is.
I hate hearing myself talk, so.
If you could speak up to the.
So we've decided that.
If you could speak up to the mic and just state your
Sorry.
name for the record. Thank you.
It's Becky Del George. So we've decided not to do an entry fee free to the community. We want to get people out. It's first year. We want everyone to feel involved who would like to come in. And then also, we haven't decided whether or not we're going to do a parking fee. We ourselves wouldn't collect it. If we did do some sort of parking, it would be, we would reach out to a non-for-profit, and then that way it would be a fundraiser for them to help assist us with the parking.
With the Crindle market, am I assuming we'd be collecting sales tax on those goods sold?
Yes.
Okay. I'm 100% in favor of this Oktoberfest. I like the fact that we're having it down there. Because it's a for-profit event, I would like to see some fee structure put in terms of permit use for any type of for-profit organizations that happen down there. I like the fact that we're being reimbursed 100% for all city expenditures. But because it's a for-profit organization using city land for for-profit, I would like to see some kind of basic flat use, permit use cost. Otherwise, I am fully in support of this.
Here's what I would recommend on that, if just talking out loud here with you. I mean, these guys are spinning this up next month, right? And this is all new for us, right? I know that there's, we talked even about, and Larry, you had some questions about, Old Canal Days and how it works with the chamber and expenses. What I'd like to do, if you guys are open to it, is just go ahead and do your event, right? You guys are covering overtime for police and cleaning up and all that's good. But I'd like to, instead of just throwing this at you now at this stage of the game, is I was going to ask Larry and, maybe either Renee, who's not here tonight, or Christina, because they're kind of like in our event coordinator folks, is that if you guys could meet and just look at everything, like look at that whole, the way the chamber works with, expenses, and is there a percentage that gets paid back? I mean, they're different events, right? But I think what I'm asking is we really look at the site and decide how can we come up with something that's well thought out, and looking at different things. With the chamber does something that supports all the businesses. It's not a profit thing. It's these kind of events are a little different, but if you guys don't mind taking that on, I'd appreciate it.
I do have one question. Do we know the participation count estimate?
We're estimating 7,500. Our estimate is based off of what we're doing in Ottawa for our Oktoberfest there, and we based those numbers off of the Chris Crindle market that they had done down there. And we picked the worst weekend that was raining because that's an established thing, and we wanted to be realistic about our numbers.
Well, and I think, too, that's another reason why I'd like, go ahead and do the event. Let's see how it plays out, right? Let's see what kind of attendance there is, and then that helps us maybe get a better understanding of what fee structure should be. So that would be my recommendation.
I would think there should at least be some type of deposit of some sort. It's nice to know that we're getting reimbursed, and I know it says on this contract right now, which is going to get updated, that they're going to leave the property as they found it, kind of thing. But we do have, whatchamacallit, Hell's Gate coming in to use that as a parking lot the next week. And if we have to spend any money to get that ready for them, that should not be coming out of our pocket, that we should have a deposit from them or something. I mean, hopefully we'll just give it right back to them, but I think we should have our butt covered in case there is some work that needs to be done after they leave, before Hell's Gate moves in.
Like a small nominal fee, like $1,500 or something, or what do you?
Whatever you think it might take to, but whatever. I mean, I just think it's nice to, or reword the writing saying they were.
We could put in the agreement that if the city had to expend funds or staff to put and clean up the site to put it back in its original use, any costs borne by the city would be charged against the operator, and they hold a liquor license. So that's one of the things, like if you don't pay up, you're not going to get a liquor license when it's renewal time. So we do have teeth regarding, making sure that those type of costs is recouped from the actual operator.
That would be a good idea, just to do it as a general verbiage for any
Yep.
activity that we have down there. Not only them, but also anybody else that might want to use that land, for their activities. So
Yes.
I think we should just have a standard verbiage of that somewhere.
I will put that in there.
Perhaps for this, you guys can just walk through it with Brent or something and just agree on. I mean, I can't imagine that, like, you'll come back and there'll be trenches, but, you know, I guess if there's,
I think the restoration line is a great idea.
yeah, just so you guys agree on what it looks like, and that if anything weird has gone on after you leave, then that could be tidied up. Okay.
Was this kind of last minute since it's in committee of the whole the month before it happens?
You mean their event?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I know you guys have been talking about it for a while, but this is the
Yeah,
first
we
time it's
talked
come to
about
us.
it starting in March, but
Okay.
usually I've come from an events background, and usually you're planning for a year or over a year for an event. So yes, it is kind of late for an event. So that's why we're just getting to this now, but.
We probably met with them after Old Canal Day, somewhere in there.
Sure,
June,
okay.
July, but.
Yeah, because in that sense too, it's like, wanted to see how it worked. Did the parking work? Did it have it laid out? So I think as, you know, we look at making this space, you know, an event space for the foreseeable future, right? I know we got Stantec on board to look at the whole planning, but in the meantime, so if Larry, if you're okay with that, I know I just threw that at you at the council, and we could talk to Christina and Renee as well, and just look at the long-term way of working with these things and as we move forward into the future.
Does the city have to do any marketing for you, or are you going to handle it all regarding mass vaccinations, anything that you're going to require for this fest?
We're just going to go based off of what the CDC recommends. If there is some sort of mandate that we need to say, hey, you need a mask, we'll have that signage posted on the fence in the front. So when people are coming in, either driving in or walking up, they will see that. So you guys don't have to do it. We'll handle all the signage and all that stuff.
All right. And there's nothing else, we'll put it on for an action item? Okay. Thanks, appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, Sunny, what you got?
Yes, Mayor, members of the City Council, item 8T1 is a ordinance annexing 8.4 acre property owned by the Catholic Diocese of Joliet located southeast corner of 167th Street and Cedar Ridge Drive. The diocese owns this property and is currently using it for farmland. The city would requested and talked with the diocese about having this property annexed in. Currently, the diocese doesn't pay any property tax because they're a religious organization, so it's not a detriment for them to come into the city boundaries. It is an advantage for the city to have it inside the corporate boundaries because obviously that will allow the contiguity of the properties that are east of that diocese property in case those properties want to come in. So it's a win-win for both the diocese and the city. There is no annexation agreement to this because it will be zoned to the least intensive zoning district, which is A1. So it's going from A1 unincorporated Will County to A1 within the city. And there will be no development that's contemplated at this time. So it'll be a straight annexation ordinance, putting it in the city, putting it into ward. I believe I put it to, let me
4.
see. Yeah, Ward 4, and it will be, zoned A1. The public hearing will be held at the next city council meeting on September 1st. After the hearing, the staff will be requesting the approval of ordinance number 21-022, annexing that property in and rezoning to A1, City of Lockport. So if there's any questions, I would be more than happy to answer them.
So to be clear, it's literally going from Will County Agriculture to City of Lockport Agriculture?
Yes.
Okay.
And any future, just clarification for everyone, any future development, if there ever were to be, it would still have to be rezoned with public hearings and everything else?
Yes. So if the new purchaser of the property 15 years down the line wanted to develop it or wanted to put in something beyond agricultural use, they would have to come in and get approval for the rezoning, go through the public hearing and all that, and of course get the redevelopment agreement and plans approved. So it will just stay, the property, the use will stay as is, incorporated in the city.
Okay. So public hearing and action item all next meeting?
Yes,
Is that what
yep.
we're looking at? Okay.
It would be a public hearing.
All right. Any, well, I mean, it's hearing, so, okay. And then AT2.
AT2 is amendment to the purchase and redevelopment agreement for the development of that property located around the 1600 block of South State Street. That is the property that's south of Jackie's Pub. That's the property that the city acquired, that long piece of property, 40 by 160 feet. So half of it was in the redevelopment agreement with Boss Properties, that the property will be developed into a 3-story building with a walkway through. The current developer, Boss Properties, has requested that the city approve the successor developer, HGJ Properties. So the principal of Boss Property also is a principal in the HGJ Properties. So this is merely to convey the agreement, the terms of the agreement from Boss Properties to HGJ Properties. The deadline to have the property developed remains. All the other payment plan remains as is, and so it would merely just go to the successor developer. So if there's any questions, I would be more than happy to answer them.
Can you remind me of the deadline again?
Deadline was December
2022,
I believe.
Okay, all right.
So by end of next year.
Did they give you any estimate when they're going to take the next steps?
He's
Foundations
trying to
in?
get his drawings from his architect, and he's hoping to start yet this fall, like in October, if
Okay.
he can get it.
That's right. I think I heard they were making some special beams or something, right? Was going on?
They were waiting for the trusses that carry the overhang over the public walkway.
Yeah.
To get their final design from the structural engineer and the fabricator.
Okay.
And once they do, the applicant's hope is that they can get it up and enclosed before the snow starts to fly.
Okay.
So that they can work on the inside during the winter.
Okay. So essentially, this is just they brought on a new partner? Is that
Yes.
what's going on?
Right,
Yes.
exactly.
Okay.
So nothing else has changed. They're still on the same payment plan. Once that payment is made, the city will deed that property, that portion of the property, to the owner, but they have to complete all the other requirements by completing and constructing the 3-story building.
All right, questions, concerns? We okay with the consent on this?
Okay.
All right, consent then.
Thank you.
All right, closed session meeting minutes.
As we are required to do twice every year, like our teeth cleaning, but this is a semi-annual review of closed session meeting minutes, whether any of the meeting minutes should be disclosed or put out to the public. At this time, there is no meeting minutes that will be released because there's still need to keep them confidential. So this is perfunctory, there's nothing new. For the new members on the city council, if there's any desire to peruse through the closed session meeting minutes, you can do that. Let me know and I will have them available for you to review. But again, this is a perfunctory item, and we request that the resolution approving the semi-annual review of closed session meeting minutes be set for consent at the next city council meeting.
Good. All right. And then lastly, Brent, this is you?
Oh, this would be.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, Lance.
Yep, this would be me. This is MI Homes Phase 2. This is the townhome section of their property. On your screen, you'll see the general location of the property. Silo Bend is currently under construction. Their Phase 1 is primarily under construction. They are doing earthwork in other portions of the site. The red box that is in the image on the right is the subject of this case. It's Phase 2. This is basically just approving their final site plan and final plat of subdivision for this phase. The plan is consistent with the preliminary plans that were developed and approved earlier. There have really been no changes that have occurred since that point. This is really just a formality to approve the second phase. If there would have been changes, then that would have opened up some additional discussion, but in essence, it's the same thing that's already been approved, just formalizing the finals. So we would request either action or consent for Resolution 21089 for the final plan Phase 2 section of this.
Questions, concerns?
I would request an action item because I have a financial interest in Silo Bend, so I can abstain from the vote.
All right.
I have a question. I mean, we're just approving the plan. Do we have, this is not approving construction on this? Because do we need to approve Phase 3 as well? Because don't we want to loop the water main, Brent, between going along 163rd Street, or are we willing to put Phase 2 in without Phase 3 at the same time?
We do want to do that, and we've been working with MI to get that done. So they've agreed to work with us to get that main in and make sure that we're looped. The point we're going to get to is there will be a time where we have potentially have a section in. We're going to loop over to Phase 3. We might not have the complete north-south loop in, but we have been working with them, and they're working with us to get exactly what we want in. So I have no doubt that we're going to be able to get everything that we need from them, and they're working, like I said, working with us on it.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
All righty. We'll just put it on an action item as requested. All right, sounds good. Any new business? All right, I got a card from Samantha. Come on down. Welcome back. You know the routine.
Hi, yes, thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Samantha Eberly, and I'm glad to be back again in reference to the 3 to 6 a.m. parking ordinance. Can you guys all hear me? Okay. The current ordinance 70.22 states that no person shall park any vehicle upon a public street with a curb between the hours 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. This ordinance was passed on December 16th of 1991. According to the government census from 1990 to 2020, the city of Lockport population has increased by 278%. In this time period, the number of streets with curbs that previously did not have curbs has increased, while the availability to safely register our cars overnight has decreased. Today, I have come with a few suggestions for change. My first and most desired change would be an increase in the number of registerable nights. There are people who want to abolish this ban, and there are people who want to keep this ban, and I feel that an increase in the number of registered nights would be a fair middle ground agreement. 2 nights out of a 30-day period on any street in Lockport is extremely restrictive, and as a college student wanting to visit my parents at home, it makes doing so extremely difficult. My second suggestion is that we stop penalizing people for making the smart decision to get a safe ride home instead of getting behind the wheel when too intoxicated. The online form is somewhat lengthy and can be difficult to fill out when one has had too much to drink. You guys have done a great job at improving the downtown area, putting in all these new businesses, and this encourages people to come out. Sometimes things happen and people end up having more to drink than they probably should have. In these situations, if people can prove that they got a safe ride home, for example, an Uber receipt, I feel that we should also not make them pay a fee for leaving their vehicle overnight. As of now, a police officer is the only person who can override a ticket, and I have a suggestion in this handout that I will be giving you after my speech as to how we can adopt this without taking away the valuable time of our officers. Of course, we do not want people to abuse this, so there should be some sort of limitation set for how often this excuse is valid. My third suggestion is that we allow a warning to be given to residents who leave their vehicle on the street overnight and forget to register. The people who experience this are people who do not regularly leave a vehicle on the street. And if the safety is concern and not revenue, then we should not make them pay the fee if this is just a one-time offense. My fourth suggestion is that we change the time frame for this ordinance. There are many people who leave for work before 6 a.m., and many of these people have fallen victim to this ordinance when having to move cars around in order to leave for work. I also have a suggestion for how we can avoid targeting people who carpool for work, and have put this information in the handout that I will be giving you. My fifth suggestion is that we come up with some sort of solution other than the Hamilton Street parking lot in order to help for people who live in older built areas that do not have 2 to 3 car garages. I have put these suggestions as well in the handout. The last time I was here, I was assured many times that you do not ticket for revenue. However, less than 5 months after I spoke last, in 2019, the fines for 3 to 6 a.m. parking tickets were increased by 50% from $20 to $30. The money from these parking tickets goes into the general fund, and it is stated in the 2021 budget that the general fund is the principal operating fund of the city. If you truly want to stand behind your statement that these tickets are not for revenue, then you should have no problem accepting some of my suggestions. The 2 reasons I was given as the purpose of this ban were for safety and to avoid abandoned cars. I will now go over the 3 safety concerns that I was given last time I was here. The first was that people plow into parked vehicles. My solution to that is that the people who fear their car being hit should simply not be parking their vehicle in the street. People who hit parked cars do so because of distracted or drunk driving. One of the alder people back in 2019 told me that they were against the overnight parking ban because drunk drivers are not used to cars being parked on the street in this time. In my opinion, these drivers should be the safety concern, not the harmless parked vehicles in the street. The second concern I was given is that our streets are too narrow. For this, I suggest we put up signs allowing parking on only one side of the narrow streets. Signs like these already exist on some streets in Lockport and should be placed on every street where you feel that this would be an issue. The third safety concern that I was told, and I quote, "People are reluctant to walk up to a house and burglarize a car, but they're not reluctant to do so on a street." This is false. Out of the 126 vehicles burglarized in the past 3 years, only 3 of those vehicles were parked on the street. As far as abandoned cars go, I have put some suggestions for monitoring them other than with the ban on the handout that I'll be giving you. I would also like to make note that I have received many comments stating that this ordinance lowers support for local police. I'm sure many of you are aware of the recent backlash that police have been getting, and it is not the police who create these rules. It is you guys. And I want you to keep this in mind when you take my suggestions into consideration. Thank you for listening.
Well done. Well done, as always, Samantha. I appreciate it. Your packet, did you give that to
I
our
didn't,
staff?
but I can
Okay.
give it out right now.
Let's do this. Let's take, I'd like to look at it. As always, when you came here last time, I really appreciate the fact that you actually come here with solutions and think through things, so thank you for that. And I'd like to look at them together with staff and let council go over it. I mean, I agree with a couple things.
Sorry.
I agree with a couple things right out of the gate. I always feel like it should be warnings. I mean, we should just have a card that we put on there that just says, look, you can't do this, and then just, I know it's a little extra work to keep track if it's a repeat offender, but I've always felt that that's the right move, especially when people move into town for the first time. I don't know. But let's look at some of the other things you're talking about, like increased number of nights. Let's see what that really is and what that means. Is that just my guess is if you're talking about college, then it would be all summer. So let's see if that's even the right move or feasible. But let's take a considerate look at it. And why don't you think about coming back at our next committee of the whole, and we can discuss more in detail of all your suggestions.
Okay, and as far as like the increase of nights, I just want to bring up some other like examples. It's not just like for me wanting to go visit like my family. Like the example of people going to their friends' houses. Like my little sister, she goes and sleeps over at her friends' houses all the time, and she can only do that at any friend's house for 2 nights out of a 30-day period. So if she were to go stay at one friend's house for 2 nights out of that month, she can't sleep at any other friend's house that has a full driveway. So yeah, that's just something to think about.
Okay. All right. Thanks again, Samantha. We'll keep in touch. And we still have, Lance, you have her contact information?
I put my contact information on the bottom of the handout as well.
All right. Thank you, Samantha. I appreciate it. All righty, me friends. If there's nothing else, we'll do a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
That's Larry. Who seconded that? Mario. Christina. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Take 5, and then we'll do our city council. For roll call.
Sorry about that.
No, it's all good.
All right, Saban is absent. Bartleson.
Here.
Lobes.
Here.
Bergbauer. Here. Galogly.
Here.
Schreiber.
Here.
Harris.
Here.
Kostecki. Here. We have a quorum.
All right. I received a
just
text
for the
from our
rec-
number
just-
one
oh,
home
I-
viewer, Tom Pinn, that when we talk, make sure we turn our mics on.
Yes. And just for the record, for the,
Did you hear that, Tom? Turn your hearing aid on. Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
I'm sorry, Sonny, you were going to say
Yeah,
something?
just for the record, for the consent item, consent agenda, the Committee of the Whole meeting minutes for August 4th, 2021, there's an updated version that is highlighted, updated August 16th, 21. That will be what will be approved in the consent agenda,
Okay.
not the one that was in the packet.
All right. Duncan Shane. All right, we're looking for a motion to have the consent agenda. Mark? Joanne, second it. All in favor for that?
Aye.
Okay, so, all right, we're looking to approve the Committee of the Whole meeting minutes from August 4th, regular City Council meeting minutes from August 4th, our payroll period ending August 8th, amendment to Chapter 111 of the city's liquor code pertaining to sidewalk cafes and smoking shelters, rezoning from R4 multifamily residential to a community commercial. The PZ2 is the amendment to the special use permit for unique use of the cabinet fabrication business, that expansion. We've got the adoption of a comprehensive plan for the city of Lockport, repeal and replacing code 115, the sign code, adopting the city of Lockport Makerspace Support Grant Program. There's the approval of the Stantec master planning services. That's everything. So looking for a motion to approve.
So move.
All right, Joanne and Karen, may I have a roll call?
Hold it. I do have a comment.
We got.
Quickly, CED3. I want to ensure that, I do fully support the Makerspace Grant Program. I want to ensure that based on the discussions we had 2 weeks ago, that right now it's being based just on the Sloan pad. And I think we did have an updated map showing just the Sloan pad for the application. However, in 1A in the application, properties outside of the target owned can come to us with grant approvals. So I just want to be sure that we're still focusing on the Sloan pad for now.
Yes, the intent would be to focus on the Sloan pad. The original reason to include the Chevron pad was if that ever happened in the future, we wouldn't need to come and redo the approval for the grant program. But if it's the preference of the council that we just simply remove that piece of it for the time being and edit and clarify that comment that was in there as far as other areas, I'd be happy to strike that piece of it and remove the Chevron portion as well.
Yeah. I think some of the discussions we had last time was we still have we have the approval of the Chevron property master plan coming on board. And I think it would be best because of the increased scale of the size of the Chevron property, that we do have a unique grant program for them as well.
Okay.
If there's that item that is being changed, it should be removed from the consent agenda if there's any changes and made into an action item.
Do you want to change it, or we can amend it later? What do you prefer?
I mean, if we want to take it in action and specifically identify the modifications and approve it that way.
Okay, just make it as an action? Okay, so we will remove CED3 so that we can number 210086. Besides that, we're looking for a roll call to approve everything else.
Okay. Saban is absent. Bartleson.
Yes.
Lobes.
Yes.
Bergbauer.
Yes.
Galogly.
Yes.
Schreiber.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
And Kostecki.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, let's make our first action item, number 21086, the Maker's Pad, which we just talked about. Can I have a motion for approval?
I'll make a motion with the proper editing, right, or something?
Yes. So the motion would be to approve item CED3 with the amendment excluding the Chevron property from the grant program. Is
And
that clear?
Do you have that specific line of text that's in there?
I'm going to the
You can
grant right
update the
now.
map, right?
Page 1, eligibility criteria 1A. The first sentence, actually, no, the second sentence says approval of properties outside of the target city-owned properties are subject to approval by the city council upon recommendation. I'd like to strike that, and also with the map, I want to ensure that the map currently just shows the Sloan pad.
For the clarification and taking of the minutes, was there a map that,
Appendix A.
Appendix A?
Sorry, apologies. Appendix A.
All right, that all seem clear for everyone?
So that would be that motion. You're
Okay,
making
so
that
motion to approve
You
the
vote on the motion, yeah.
amendment as stated.
Okay.
Okay, now I'll second that one.
We all good then? Any questions? All right, we'll do a roll call on that, please. Sorry, man, we really made Kathy's job difficult.
It's so tough. Okay, so, but we didn't have a second on the first one.
Yeah, seconded by JR.
Yeah, JR.
Sorry, got it, okay. All right, so then I need a motion here.
Mark,
Mark
Mark kind of
I
made
thought we
the,
had two motions. I thought we had a motion and a motion to amend.
No, it was,
JR started the motion, but then Sonny
but I
clarified
worded it
what
wrong.
we had a
and Mark
motion for.
took over.
Okay, roll call it is. Saban is absent. Bartleson?
Yes.
Lobes?
Yes.
Bergbauer?
Yes.
Gallogley?
Yes.
Schreiber?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Kostecki?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, next on the agenda is looking for a motion to approve Resolution 21081. That's the license agreement for the temporary parking over at Chevron. So looking for a motion.
I'll make that motion.
JR. Seconded by Mark. Any discussion?
Yes, Mayor, we did make a couple amendments since the last meeting on this. We discussed it at the committee of the whole and brought it back as an action. You know, there was some debate about the bus kind of route through the west side that we want to avoid, and we updated the map that's in your packet to show that they will exclusively use Second Street to State Street only. They will not use Canal Street and thereby avoid most of the west side. They'll be able to go, which is kind of nice. I mean, the patrons will be able to see all the bars and restaurants in the downtown while they come and go between the haunted house and the Chevron site. So, yes, we're seeking the approval of Resolution 21081 with the amendments that we added, and certainly open to take other questions if you need it.
Can we redirect that path past the Dairy Queen?
Yeah, nice loop. All our highlights, yeah.
I've got a question for you, Ben. Apparently, there's no verbiage in here for any type of a fee as well.
Correct. We have not, we did not propose a fee. They are responsible for cleaning it daily, and we can certainly add that same language about restitution if we have to do our own cleaning. They'll be taking over less than 1 week from the Oktoberfest, and then they'll have it for 4 or 5 weekends through the month. So, John, I don't know if you want to come up at all, but, you know.
Are we providing police and public works?
No, actually, for this
reimbursed for that?
situation, it's
They're welcome.
more of a patron-guided thing. We have asked them to have actually their own personnel on site to answer questions or handle whatever they need to handle, but they'll be providing their own labor, and we don't anticipate any, I should say, we do have auxiliary, and I think we've probably had a few patrol officers that we've used before, but I don't think we've incurred overtime in the past, but I don't remember, Rich, I don't know if you remember if Terry had, did you guys have to pay overtime last time? It's been 2 years now, I can't remember.
Yeah,
I mean,
we do
they
have a police presence. We always work it out with the chief to have a police presence at the site.
Well,
On
what
bigger
we
nights, we increase the police presence, but we do have our own staffing, our own security that actually handle all the customers, get them on the buses, and give them little postcards to go shop downtown.
But it's not as labor-intensive as an Old Canal Days or anything like that. I mean, there's some operations that they have as you turn off of Division to get onto Canal. There's some auxiliaries usually there, and I don't think we need to provide anybody at the parking lot per se. So it would be our standard arrangement.
I got a question for John. I'm going to approve the new parking, and I thank you for changing the route. I'm the one who wanted to keep it out of the west side. I really thank you for that. I just was wondering, what are the negatives of the Metro that I don't see? I know you had to go out to Lockport East or something because maybe you fill the Metro, but I'm actually more in favor of Metro because I feel there are a lot of people who are eating at Stagecoach, Lockmule, and then walking down to the Metro lot, grabbing the bus there. So I think we are kind of going to miss a little of that, maybe business, but I was curious what the negatives are, why we really are moving.
The negatives were the size. We've experienced success. So we fill up that parking lot quite quickly now. And then we are basically sending our customers, when it overflows, to Lockport East, which is then increasing the customer time about 20 minutes, which is just kind of hurting our customer feedback when it comes to that. It's really about it filling up. And then what we're finding out is that people then taking every spot in town, which since we've been open, since 2019, there's been a lot of growth on State Street. And so that was something that concerned me, as now we have all these restaurants there. And it's great for the restaurants because every one of them fills up in October. They love us. But I didn't want to take all of their parking, and the problem is that Metro lot does fill up really fast for us. So it was really just about not having enough space. And we do, for everyone that does not know, we have postcards that we put in every single customer's hands with a map of downtown, telling them where to eat, where to drink, where to hang out afterwards. So that's what I do like going down State Street, that they're going to see it on one side of the bus, all the bars and restaurants, and then coming back the other way. If the Metro lot was twice the size, I would stay. It'd be great.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Okay. All good then? All right, can I do a roll call, please?
Yes, you can. Saban is absent. Bartleson.
Yes.
Loebs.
Yes.
Bergbauer.
Yes.
Malogly.
Yes.
Schreiber.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
Kostecki.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, looking for a motion to approve our bills through August 10th.
Make a motion.
Larry, seconded by Karen. Any questions, concerns? I'll do a roll call, please.
Got it. Saban is absent. Bartleson.
Yes.
Loebs.
Yes.
Bergbauer.
Yes.
Malogly.
I abstain because the city of Lockport is paying my employer for water supplies.
Schreiber.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
Kostecki.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, next is PD1. It's a reorganization of the police department. Looking for a motion to approve Resolution 21088.
So moved.
Second it.
All right, that was Mark and Larry.
Thank you.
All right. Did you want to just speak at all to it there, Chief? Just give us a heads up, a little bit, just last explanation here before we...
Sure. You know what? I've ran the operations section for the past 6 years, and we've seen some growing concerns coming with the new restrictive laws that have been put in place, on the police officers. And it's always a concern is the accountability and training aspect of it. So I found a way to be more effective, more efficient, was to take some of these positions and delegate the responsibilities over 3 personnel versus 2, so we can have more accountability. Not that it was an issue before, but what we're doing is now we're enhancing that to make sure that that we're covering all bases by dividing this up. Yeah, it just comes down to just dividing up the responsibilities properly so that they are for efficiency and effectiveness. Is what it
Anybody
comes
have any questions or concerns about it? I know we've been looking at it for a little bit.
I think one of the things I like about it is you're able, we are bringing a new admin sergeant position, and if we had not done that, you would have had even larger savings. I mean, I think we proved out that it was a budget neutral thing and a little bit of a savings, but Larry and I had talked about it, and actually it could have been even a bigger savings, but we're also showing the importance of training with all the laws that are changing and all the new mandates that are coming down the line, and Chief Harang and Deputy Chief Huff both feel like we need to make a better emphasis on training. We've always had training in outside agencies as well, but to have some of our own, someone responsible for training. And in the packet, there's also included those responsibilities and breakdowns, and so you can see some of that. So we're administration's in full support of the reorg.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
If there's nothing else, then let's do a roll call.
All right. Saban is absent. Bartleson.
Yes.
Loebs.
Yes.
Bergbauer.
Yes.
Malogly.
Yes.
Schreiber.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
Kostecki.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, next is Ordinance 21024, looking for a motion to approve the city code related to junk, litter, trash, debris on properties to include commercial properties.
So moved.
Mark,
Second.
Seconded by JR. Any questions, concerns on this one?
Was this on committee of the whole? Or
Do
is
you
this some?
just go through the background? I'll go through the background.
Sorry.
So-
Did I miss something? I'm
Yes.
sorry.
So currently, under Chapter 93, we have an ordinance that prohibits any properties, but it's specifically to a residentially zoned district, that you can't have any junk, debris and all that stuff. And if you do, then the city could go and immediately abate it, and, that could be a cost that would be borne on the owner or the offender, and it could be filed as a lien. So it specifically did not include commercial, properties. But we all know that there is a closed down, formerly used as a used car dealership that has been in a state of decay for years. It's just sitting there, and unfortunately, our current ordinance doesn't allow us to go and remediate that right away. You would have to go and get, go through the court process and all that stuff. And so this kind of gives a tool for the city to be able to go in there and remove all that, junk and debris from that property. Obviously, if you do have a lawfully established junk dealership, that's part of your business and you're still in operation, that will not be the case. We can't go and remove, junk from a junk dealership that's been lawfully established. But this is more for those closed down businesses. We can go and remove lighting fixtures that's been sitting there and, rusting away. And so we are requesting this to be on the city council because we want to do immediate enforcement action on those properties that I talked about. And therefore, we can go and do that, post a notice debate. If they don't, correct it, then we'll go in and remediate it and, lien the property.
Would this fall under the same auspices if we determine a commercial property to be unsafe, or we may have to take action against it?
There's a lot of statutory tools that we have. If it's unsafe, anything that is a nuisance that's toxic, noxious, and everything else, and that causes harm, there's other statutory provision on this. This is more specifically for the junk that's out on the closed down businesses that are in commercially district areas.
Okay, thank you.
And there's contact people that you're able to contact to let them know that you're doing this, so that way they're going to get a lien on their properties or a fine or something?
Yep, the notice will be in several ways. One will be, we'll post it on the property. If the owner is MIA and doesn't want to do anything, we'll go and abate it. We'll also send the notice to the last known address and contact information of the property owner. There are some times when you can't locate property owners and you can't, you get good contact, and then they decide it's not, economically feasible for them or advantageous for them to actually clean it up. But obviously, the people who drive by that main corridor sees that. So we want to make sure that we remedy those type of nuisances that, is an eyesore to the city.
I'm all for the code enforcement. I truly am. I just, I'm hoping that we're getting the contact person so that way they can be notified.
Oh, there's been several attempts. So it's not something that we plan on using that, this is the first line. This is the last resort, when after you make contact with the attorney, the owner, and you can't find the owner, you contact the real estate agent. So we attempt, and Tom Fulton attempts, he does a lot of attempting, and when you have that property sitting there for years and it's not cleaned up, that's something that the city needs to
I've worked
address.
with Tom on a number of properties that we had to contact the owners and so forth. If it is listed on the market, that is probably the fastest way, because that agent does have contact with that person, but sometimes I know that their hands are tied too, but.
We're just getting ignored at this point, and we need some action.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's really what it's come down to, so.
I see, okay.
Does this include weeds?
Yes, it does. It includes weeds, and it includes anything that's considered to be, because currently it's, litter, trash, other debris. We do have actually another section that does address weed regarding being able to remove those type of weeds. So this is more of the junk and everything else, but we do have another section in our city code addressing weeds.
Oh, and even cutting grass.
Yeah, cutting grass, yep.
Certainly,
Mhm.
and then, yeah.
All right, anything else? And why don't we do a roll call?
You got it. Saban is absent. Bartleson.
Yes.
Lobes.
Yes.
Bergbauer.
Yes.
Galogly.
Yes.
Schreiber.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
Kostecki.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right. All right, next is looking for a motion to repeal and replace Chapter 156 of the zoning code.
So moved.
Mark? Seconded by Karen. We put it on an action item because I remember there was a couple comments that I wanted Lance to review. Just give us an update on that. I think that all went
So
well.
I took a look at, I think there were about 6 or 7 different questions that the person had, and I corresponded back and forth with him, and he understands, all the reasons why what we have in the code is applicable, and had no issues with the changes that we had made.
Thank you, Lance.
Okay. So with that said, we'll do a roll call.
You got it. Saban is absent. Bartleson.
Yes.
Lobes.
Yes.
Bergbauer.
Yes.
Galogly.
Yes.
Schreiber.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
Kostecki.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, looking for a motion to approve Amendment 153 to the Development Code.
So moved.
Mark?
Second.
Second by JR. Were there any questions, concerns on this one? Okay. Looking for a roll call?
You got it. Saban is absent. Bartleson.
Yes.
Lobes.
Yes.
Bergbauer.
Yes.
Galogly.
Yes.
Schreiber.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
Kostecki.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, and lastly is the Austin Tyler Construction Award, which is Resolution 21093. Anybody want to make a motion?
So moved.
Mark?
Second.
Seconded by Larry. Are there any questions on this one? All right, then we'll do a roll call.
All right. Saban is absent. Bartleson.
Yes.
Lobes.
Yes.
Bergbauer.
Yes.
Galogly.
I abstain. I'm trying to sell Austin Tyler castings on this project.
Schreiber.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
Kostecki.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, me friends, if there's nothing else, I'm just looking for a motion to adjourn.
Seconded.
Mark and, sound like Joanne over there. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, me friends, thank you.